right, good morning, folks. Welcome to the Point for today. It is, of course, Thursday, the 12th day of December 2024 is the year, of course. And I'm Gordon Joseph. I'm in with you for To the Point this morning, and it's a pleasure to have with me the folks from the fire department of the RGPF. With me this morning, to my immediate right is Inspector Hamilton. To his immediate right is WPC Stafford, and to her immediate right is Constable 955 Harper. Lady and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Innocent. Good morning to you, listeners and viewers.
Right, it's a pleasure to be with you all this morning. It wasn't so long ago I met you on the road and I said, man, why don't you come on my program? I want to talk to you. And here it is, coincidentally. But I don't believe in coincidences. It's divine, you know. Papa God knows, and he grants my wish. Okay, folks, this morning we're here to talk. We all know that we're in the Yuletide season, so you hear the fire department. These are members of the fire department, so of course we will be talking fire and everything fire related, fire prevention, fire suppression, and so forth. I want to start off though with a question. All right, impromptu. That's how I roll. Why is it during this season, Christmas season especially, we do have some during Carnival and other times throughout the year, but during the Christmas season, we tend to have more house fires than normal. Am I safe in saying that?
Partially so.
Okay, good. Well, at least 50%. All right. Why is that the case, though?
The reason is basically during this time of the year, people tend to be a little more relaxed and let their guard down. They don't pay particular attention to safety most of the time. So you're finding a lot of things going wrong with electrical wiring. You also have issues with cooking, candle safety, proper supervision of children and the elderly.
Do we still have households using candles as their main illumination thing at night? So we still have people that use candles?
Some people does, but you have to look at it on the other side, on the romantic side, yes? You know, people have candlelight dinners and stuff like that.
What? That's the kind of dinners where they eat candles? I don't understand. What is this about candlelight dinners?
Yes. So, okay. And with around those times, if you don't prepare properly, right, okay, and if you in your preparations and you observe issues, you must take measures to mitigate against those risks. For example, in your preparedness stage, if you're going through your lights, for example, you take them out. If you have them in a bag, you string them out to make sure that there is no broken wires, no bulbs missing. Okay. Right? If there is broken wires, you want to take mitigation steps by probably altering it or probably buying a new set. With your stove, if you're cleaning and you realize, the burner is not working properly, there is always gas leakage, most likely you'll get a stove repair technician to repair that. Or if they have the funds, you purchase a new stove. Okay. You understand? So as you prepare, you observe, and then we advise to make mitigation steps to reduce the risk of fires occurring to as low as reasonable possible.
So in essence, the real answer for the question is that during the festive season, people get so preoccupied with other things that they forget or they overlook the right procedures for doing things that would aid in fire prevention.
Yes, sometimes it happens.
Sometimes like that.
Yes.
Okay, so in order to mitigate around this within the season, what are some of the recommendations that can be made via your good offices?
Well, to mitigate, you must prevent. So you must go through a rigorous process of assessing your premises, just as how you go through your home and you look at this area, the paint is peeling off, and you scrub the wall in your paint. Same thing you should do with all your electrical appliances and everything in your house that can cause a fire. All right? So you examine thoroughly. You observe areas where you have vulnerabilities, and you take mitigating measures. If the socket is not secure on the wall, then you need to have it properly secured. If you have electrical wires hanging out from your, protruding from your socket, from the electrical socket, you need to take measures to secure that. If you have blown fuse, and then you decide to take a piece of wire, probably a foil paper,
to bridge
it.
What we call bridging.
Yes, that is not good measures.
Okay.
You understand? If your stove is not working properly, you want to make sure that it is in good condition for prolonged cooking and baking.
As you say that, something popped through my mind. But and then when I assess it, I think it might not be a bit prudent. Just as we inspect vehicles annually to make sure that they are roadworthy, do you think it's feasible to have an inspection team throughout the year inspecting houses and buildings, especially for the electrical installations and so forth?
As it relates to electrical installations, there is a law in place that says that your premises should be wired over at least 10 years after the date of your receive electricity supply.
So right? It should be rewired and inspected.
Inspected, yes.
Okay, but is that law being adhered to? Is that law enforced ever?
I cannot confirm that, but the law is there, so I'll have to do some research further and get back to you in relation to that.
All right. Okay, so let's go to the lady now. Your contribution to the conversation this morning, which angle are you taking this morning? Tell me.
The statistics part.
Okay. All right. Statistics over the years.
Yeah, and comparing 2023 with 2024.
Okay. So let's what the statistics look like. Is it good? Is it better?
Well, we have seen some increase in some cases and also some decrease in some cases.
Okay. All right. So what does the statistics say?
All right. So in terms of, that's for the period January to November. Dwelling house fire for the year 2023, we had 54, whereas in 2024 we had 48, which shows a 11.11 decrease. Business house fire, we had 9 in 2023, whereas in 2024 we had 4. It shows a decrease of 33.56%. In terms of vehicular fire, we had for 2023 21, whereas in 2024 so far we only had 15. So we also saw there was a decrease there. In terms of accident, we had 15 for 2023, whereas in 2024 we had 8. Bushfire, though, we had 100 for 2023, whereas for 2024 we had 160. So we see there we had an increase of 60%.
Okay, and what would you say would be, I mean, it's good that we had the reduction in some areas, but what from the RGPF's, the fire department assessment, what would have caused the increase, especially in the bushfires?
The increase in the bushfires was basically because of a prolonged dry season, with drought conditions existing, and this further exacerbated the conditions of bushfires and so forth. So we had a large amount of bushfires reported during that period. It is well known that once you have drought-like conditions, the environmental conditions will be much more conducive for fires to grow and spread. And then you coupled with this heavy wind we had blowing across the land surface, which aid the fire in spreading much faster and so forth. And you could recall that we had some fires close to residential properties. And from the fire department point of view, we took everything reasonable possible to protect houses from being destroyed. In fact, during the entire operations during the dry season, no structure was damaged as a result of bushfires coming close within those areas.
Okay. Again, let me just ask there, in the eventuality that whether it's a bushfire or another residential area and a property is on fire, we had a situation in Shantimel during the year where a number of houses got burnt. If you are living in a closely knitted neighborhood and your neighbor's house is on fire. There's an old saying, if your neighbor's house on fire, wet yours. But from a fire department's perspective, what should you do as a resident in a house close to a burning structure, or whether it's a fire bush or whatever? What steps should be taken?
Well, first thing of all, you have to evaluate the situation, take into consideration the proximity, the distance from the house and the house that is engulfed to your house. Yes.
Okay.
And once you do that, and you will have to take all the measures necessary to protect your property. I will advise you to evacuate and remove your valuable items from the house once it is safe to do so. One have to take in consideration in the environment, where the fire is occurring, you have to take into consideration heat transfer. All right, so the fire is burning, let's say, at Mr. Harper's home, and it's threatening my home. The heat is being transferred from Mr. Harper's house to my house. So the curtains in my house can spontaneously ignite as a result of the heat given off from Mr. Harper's house.
So the curtains can ignite without an actual flame?
Yes. So based on heat transfer.
Okay.
Yes, so Mr. Harper will have to take all the necessary measures to remove his valuables from the house and bring them to a place of safety. Once he gets that done, he could assist the neighbor in, whatever means necessary, whether it's to use buckets or hose or so, to prevent the fire from spreading.
Another critical question that I know folks out there would want to know, right? We know we have a lot of brave souls out there. People who think that they're invincible and so forth. So you might be in a burning building or a building that is close to fire that could spread to your building. At what point in time should you determine, hey, listen, this is the time to evacuate?
Well, you have to assess the situation, right? Your assessment. You might see as a layman you don't have the knowledge, but you could look at how the fire is behaving. From, let's say, between 1 minute to 3 minutes, the fire is the building is fully engulfed. And your house is probably about 10 or 5 feet away from that property. And let's say the fire is on the eastern side or the left flank of the house. Your house is on the right flank, right? So you have a window of opportunity to remove some of those valuables from your property. You understand?
Okay.
So the individual, right, they'll have to pay particular attention. Most of us get caught up in looking at what's happening and not taking measures to protect our property.
Okay. Mr. Harper, you've been silent thus far. Your contribution to the conversation this morning, what angle are you taking?
Preventative measures.
Okay, so that this is an ample time to incorporate that. What are some of the preventative measures one can take as it relates to fire throughout the season, but not just throughout the season, always, because there isn't a different set of rules for Christmas as it relates to preventing fires there is for Easter or for every day of the year. So what are some of the preventative measures that can be taken?
Well, take into consideration for this festive season, there will be a lot of prolonged cooking. So to the people that would be doing a lot of prolonged cooking, we want to avoid leaving the cooking unattended.
Okay.
We would want to make sure that you have your stove well maintained to avoid grease fires during baking. Yes.
This one is very, very critical, and it's really for this season, because people bake throughout the year. Every weekend some people bake their bread. You still have people that bake bread at home, yeah? Not everybody support the bakeries and so forth. But with the Christmas season, more is being done in the ovens. More cakes are being baked, more bread. Some people don't buy the salt ham, they buy the frozen ham and they bake it, they bake the turkey. So a lot more baking is done. The stove is more utilized. So you spoke of grease fires. What when you talk of grease fires, what do you mean?
Okay, so during the process of baking, the grease or the fat from the turkey or the the ham. Yeah.
Or even some people that know how to measure the cake properly, so it boils over the tin and so forth.
And that would reach an ignition point, it would light, and there's gas being emitted from the stove. And if not, you don't tend to that. If you don't look into that, you can.
So in your experience, Inspector, have you, after evaluating fires, have you been able to identify that the cause of the fire was because of this grease burning and so forth?
In the local domestic areas, no. However, in the industrial field, yes.
Okay. All right. So, folks, you heard that. It's important. One of the first preventative measures is to ensure that all your cooking apparatus is manned at all times. When I say that, do not leave your baking or your cooking or whatever unattended while you take on a major other chore. Like, you don't leave the stove and you go painting a room or vanishing a chair if you still do. You understand?
Yes.
It's not saying that you have to stand up and watch the stove from the time you put whatsoever you put on the stove or in the oven to bake until it's completed, but you have to ensure that you make periodic visits and make sure that everything. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes. In some cases, some people, you can have a timer.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's say you can have that cake there for a couple amount of minutes. You can set the timer for that amount. So when it goes off, look, I have to check on it.
Okay. That's one. Another preventative measure.
You can have smoke detectors installed in every room. And you can have fire extinguishers.
Okay. Is it mandatory that you have fire extinguishers, especially in residential dwellings?
It's not necessary, but however, as a means of suppression fire in its initial stage, it is advisable that each homeowner have in their possession a fire extinguisher, which can be used to extinguish fire in its initial stage. That means the fire must be about the size of a waste paper basket. Yes, remember, an extinguisher only gives you about 8 to 10 or 15 seconds of use. Yes, and if you don't have an extinguisher, we could use some of the old measures that we had before. Remember the crockett's bag on the floor?
Yeah.
Right, so she always had a crockett's bag she had on the floor in the kitchen.
Okay.
When you come to the kitchen,
thought you said that I used to sleep on the floor.
Yeah. And when you come in, you wipe your foot on the crockett's bag.
Yes.
And back then, they always used to have buckets of water. So in the event the stove flare up, let's say the burners, you're cooking something and flare up, you can dip that bag
into
the bucket of water and cover what is on the stove top.
Right.
Yes. If you're cooking and you realize your oven flares up, right? Most people will tend to open the oven door. When you open the oven door, you're venting. The flames is coming out at you. Leave the oven door closed. Shut off your gas. If you have a 20-pound cylinder, most people have it in a cupboard. You turn it off. If you have a 100-pound cylinder, most times the valve is at the back of the stove. You mightn't be able to access that at this time, so you will have to go outside to your 100-pound cylinder and turn it off.
Okay. All right, folks, it's 22 minutes after 9 o'clock. We need to take a commercial break. We'll be back after these messages. Don't you go anywhere. This is To The Point.
Tourism is me. Tourism is you. Tourism is everybody, and tourism connects us all.
Did you know that tourism generates revenue and foreign exchange earnings?
Did you know it stimulates infrastructural development and facilitates cultural exchange among people?
You must know tourism is linked to all industries,
from agriculture to construction.
So support the industry today and be welcoming to all our visitors.
Tourism is my business. Tourism is your business. Tourism is our business. Listen, one and all. Tourism connects us all.
A message from the Ministry of Tourism
and the Grenada Tourism Authority.
Get ready, Grenada. This Saturday, December 14th, history will be made at the Karani James Athletic Stadium with the Neville Gleen Classic. We're honoring the legendary coach from St. Patrick's, Mr. Neville Gleen, with this spectacular event showcasing the best in track and field. Catch powerhouse clubs like 473 MVP, Ace Track Club, South City Rising Stars, Velocity Track Club, Finish Line, Fusion, Track Blazers, and MDC competing for glory. Action kicks off at 12 noon. Admission just $10. Don't miss this electrifying day as we celebrate a true stalwart of the sport. Be there to cheer on our champions.
Hello, everybody. My name is Renee Goodwin, and I am the marketing manager here at True Blue Bay Resort. And I am so excited to invite you all to join us every Thursday on GBN, starting from November 7th, as we count down to the holiday season, right here at True Blue Bay Resort, Grenada's best family-friendly resort for visitors and locals.
Welcome back, viewers and listeners, to The Point. This morning we've got members from the fire department of the RGPF with me, Inspector Hamilton, WPC Stafford, and the Police Constable 955. Yes. Harper. Welcome back. And before we went on to that break, we were looking at preventative measures that can be taken to curb fires throughout the season and always. So let's get back to that. What are some of the measures, preventative measures that can we adopt to secure ourselves?
Okay. In terms of electrical safety, avoid overloading circuits. Right, so during the Christmas season, we have the Christmas lights. We have a lot of electrical toys now. So everybody will have a device plugged on at the same time. So we try to avoid doing so. We avoid running cords on the rugs and carpets. The reason for doing so is that sometimes when you move around our furniture, some of the cords get broken and we're not aware. Right? Okay. Yeah, so that can cause a fire.
And we're talking electrical cords, right?
Electrical cords. Okay, like extension cords. Sometimes we have, where the socket is, we have an electrical cord, extension cord run there, so we can add other devices on that extension cord. Okay. And sometimes we run it. Some people run it under the rugs and carpets and so avoid doing that. Okay.
All right. So don't run electrical cords covered, in a sense, not under rugs, carpets, chairs, whatever furniture. Make sure that they're exposed. When I say exposed, in eyesight, yes, at all times. So in the event that there are any breakages, cords,
right, so you can see.
Okay.
All right. Okay. In terms of the Christmas lights and so, usually when Christmas time we put it out and after that we store it away in boxes, and then Christmas come again we take it and then we light it. So we have to look at the cords. We make sure we look at it to make sure there is no broken cords. We inspect it and before we plug it in.
Okay. All right. So the habit of Christmas comes light up.
Store away.
The 5th of January, some people go that far. And I mean, Wagiti has a lot of work to do, because when you look at the house in the night time, there's a lot of work, Uncle Wags. Yeah, and you store them away, and Christmas comes, the middle November, the season comes back on, you just take and plug back, and that is wrong.
Yeah, that is wrong.
Because in folding them up, some bulbs could get damaged, wires could get broken, and a whole lot of things could go wrong. So it is important. And what sort of inspection should they do? How do you inspect these lights?
You can, once you inspect it, you would see if there is any cord protruding, so you would see if there is anything broken, if you do that yourself, or even though you can have someone who is certified to do so for you.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. So, folks, you heard that. If you fold your stuff and put them away at the end of the Christmas season, when Christmas comes around again, or the next time you want to use the lights, ensure that they are properly inspected for any damages, because you are playing with electricity and it can ignite and cause major fires. Important notice. Okay.
Yes, you would also want to educate the young ones concerning fires. Educate them that fire is not something to be played with. You would also want to keep lighters, matches, and all flammable liquids away from them.
Okay. All right. Little children and fools shouldn't play with sharp edged tools. In this case, shouldn't play with electrical tools at all. All right. Having said that, I know in years gone by, recent years, as a matter of fact, there had been a prohibition on the importation of the fire bombs and this sort of things. Are these prohibitions still in place?
Yes, the prohibition still is in place, and we're encouraging persons who may, probably thinking about bringing those things to the island. It is an offense to do so. And the RGPF will be working along with the customs to ensure that those items don't reach the street.
Okay, all right. Any other preventative measures that should be, disseminated to our listeners?
There is much more that we can add in relation to that in terms of your Christmas tree. If you're going to use an artificial tree, you want to make sure that the tree has a certification on the Writers Laboratory, or a CC certification that says the Christmas tree is made of fire-resistant material. You just don't go to a store and just purchase a tree and bring it to your dwelling. Remember, it's your home, it's your castle. You spend a lot of money to build it. And you don't want to go and buy some cheap tree or probably cheap lights. And once you use over a period of time, the bulbs start to get hot and then they cause a fire. And you can end up losing your own home. For natural trees, yes. See the guys in Granite and the Forest Reserve harvesting those trees, right?
Yeah, and there's a good deal on them. I think it's $10 per foot,
right,
of the Christmas trees.
So if you're going to use a natural tree, when you bring it inside of your house, you could get a bucket, put water on the bottom of it, and then you could add sand. So it keeps a level of moisture. So the leaves are referred to in firefighting as the needles, and the tree wouldn't dry. So when you have your lights on, right, they wouldn't superheat and cause a fire.
Okay.
Your decorations, most of the decorations we use are flammable decorations. They're easy to catch. So you want to make sure that if it's possible and you have the resources to buy fire-resistant decorations. Yes, as Brother Harper mentioned about matches and lighters, about the importance of keeping them away from your children. So it is important when you're in the kitchen cooking to not wear loose-fitted clothes. You understand? If you have loose-fitted clothes, you can easily come in contact with the flame from the burner and your clothes can ignite. Keep children away from the kitchen. It's not an area for children to play. Your pot handles, turn them inwards. right? Sometimes you're moving around the stove and the handle, you come in contact with the handle. You could have a pot with hot oil or something like that, and that could fall on you. If you have a child, the child could get burst or get burned.
This one is very, very critical. It is a very common mistake that people make. All right, you're cooking on the stove and you have your pot handles protruding out.
Yes.
Most people think it's safer that way, but it's not.
Turn it inwards, because once it's inwards, then you have easy access around your stove.
But what's about cases where you've got a 4-burner stove and the 4 burners are being utilized at the same time? How do you navigate that? You have to figure it out.
You have to figure it, because you got 2 in the front and 2 at the back, right? You have a left side and a right side. So you're going to decide which side you're going to put your pot with the handle, especially, let's say, a frying pot. Okay. Right? Right, you know, be careful where you're going to put it. So you want to put it probably on the left side with it facing the corner by the cupboard. Right. And then you have some other pots with smaller handles. You just have to angle it on your stove as to suit. Yes. In terms of cooking again, right? As Harper indicated earlier on, there is a country and western song that says "Stand by your man." Yes, stand by your man. So in your kitchen and you're cooking along the Christmas time or during the normal operations, stand by your pan. Stand by your pan. That's correct. It's Christmas time and when you cook the ham. Yes, nice. Right, we mentioned earlier about candles, you know. If you live in the room and you have a candle, make sure you're out the candle. Candles left unattended can easily cause fires. Do not put your candles close to your curtains. Right? The wind could blow and the flame could move in the direction of the curtain and it can ignite. Right. Apart from the curtain, let's look at evacuation. If a fire do occur in your home, right, and you need to get out, and once you discover a fire, you need to raise an alarm. So if you're asleep in the night, and that's why we strive in the importance of the use of smoke detectors. All right? In fact, the theory is that each room in the house should have a smoke alarm. So it will be able to detect the fire in its initial stage once sufficient smoke is given off. All right? So that's an early warning device to give you an alert. But if you don't have the device, and you wake up in the night and you realize there is a fire, you need to raise an alarm, shout out fire, and as everybody get out, call the emergency services. If the fire is small enough and you can extinguish it, do so. If it's too big, get out, stay out, call the emergency services, call 911 and report the incident.
Let me ask this. During the hurricane season and in recent times, it's become always, NADMA always say, have your home security plan or safety plan. That's from NADMA's perspective. Should households have a fire plan as well?
Yes.
If we're looking at comprehensive disaster management,
fire falls under that. So
okay. each home should have in their comprehensive disaster plan action for fire, right? An action for hurricane, an action for tsunami and stuff like that. So you want to make sure you have that level of planning and you inform your household, your children, how to deal with it. You establish a meeting point, or refer to as a muster point outside of your house. Understand? Probably you might come home from work and you get a strong smell of gas. You know? When you get into your property, you realize that. So we advise you, once you go in, before you go in, if you ever could get a wet kerchief and put over your nose to avoid inhaling much of the gas fumes. If you have a 100-pound cylinder on the outside, you want to check it out to make sure that it is off before you go in. Do not use your mobile phone because it could cause an electrical ignition. Not electrical, but static ignition. Okay. Right? On the cause of fire. Do not put on light switches because you want to show how long the gas has been leaking and the amount of vapor that is in the atmosphere. Once you click the switch, you're introducing a heat source. Right? And once you have sufficient fuel available, the heat, the fuel, and the oxygen, you'll have a spontaneous ignition. And then, boom, you're gone. Right?
Just like that?
Yes. So if it is safe for you to do so, you go in, you check. If your cylinder is on, you have a 20-pound cylinder, shut it off.
Okay.
Right? If you're not confident enough, stay outside and call the emergency services.
Let me ask you this, right? You're entering a building and you realize there's fire inside. The normal instinct is to open your windows so that the breeze would blow the fire. Is that the correct thing to do?
Well, when you enter a building, from a professional point of view, from a firefighter's point of view, you have to take a lot of, you have to make an assessment, as we normally say, to find out the wind direction, smoke travel, and the amount of, the color of the smoke and all those things, right? So the normal practice we ask persons to use the back of your hand to fill the door. If the door is super hot, that means the fire is within that room, right? So we could do one of two things. We could, from the assessment on the outside, you could determine which part of the fire is and what action to take. Probably you could want to do ventilation from the ceiling, from the roof, and so forth. But for a layman, if you're out and your building is on fire, stay out. You don't know the stage of the fire. You don't have the necessary protective gear, you understand, to protect you. So stay out. Call the emergency service. Do not venture in.
Okay. I ask that because there is a school of thought that if the room is locked, the fire that's in there would have already started consuming the oxygen in there. But when you open the windows, you introduce more oxygen.
And then you could have what we refer to as a backdrop, or you could have a rollover phenomenon with the introduction of oxygen. The entire room just explodes.
Okay.
You understand? And boom, the fire spread to other parts of the building, and you, for yourself as a layman, could be knocked down. There is instances where firefighters, not locally but internationally, experience this phenomenon and they get thrown across a wall and so forth.
Okay.
But again, the idea of compartmentalization in building is important to make sure that you have the necessary amount of fire resistance in terms of your walls and so forth. So the fire could occur in this portion of the building here and burn itself, consume everything here, and burn itself. Yes, that happens. Right, but in our normal dwelling, which is wooden structure and some concrete structure, when you look at the concept, especially some of the modern concrete structure, you have an open concept.
Right, yes.
So that fire will just race through that portion of the building there. And the importance of keeping your bedroom doors closed, especially at night, it gives you a level of protection. So if a fire starts in the living room and your door is closed, it reduces the amount of carbon monoxide that comes into your room. You understand? But if the door is open, everything is coming at you, and you may not even wake up.
Right.
Because carbon monoxide
poisons you.
It's a poisonous gas.
Yeah. Okay. All right, folks, it's 19 minutes on to 10 o'clock. We take another commercial break. When we come back, we open the lines and we continue the conversation. Folks, this is To The Point. We'll be back after these messages. Don't you go anywhere.
Hello, everybody. My name is Renee Goodwin, and I am the marketing manager here at True Blue Bay Resort. And I am so excited to invite you all to join us every Thursday on GBN, starting from November 7th, as we count down to the holiday season, right here at True Blue Bay Resort, Grenada's best family-friendly resort for visitors and locals.
everyone. Here is an invitation to join me this and every Sunday until December 22nd for Yuletide Sundays, GBN TV and K105 FM from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. as we feature the best in traditional Christmas music and the opportunity to win great gifts, including cakes, hams, and a range of beverages. Yuletide Sundays, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. until December 22nd. Compliments Grenville Credit Union, Grenada Paper Products, Carries the Light, and Vibe Island Drinks Hard Seltzer.
Coming up, it's the season for love as this movement makes a difference for yet another year. The food we're serving, cocktails flowing, and the rhythms ongoing. Welcome everyone to a truly joyous edition of Caribbean Passport. It's all next on this station.
Get ready, Grenada. This Saturday, December 14th, history will be made at the Karani James Athletic Stadium with the Neville Gleen Classic. We're honoring the legendary coach from St. Patrick's, Mr. Neville Gleen, with this spectacular event showcasing the best in track and field. Catch powerhouse clubs like 473 MVP, Ace Track Club, South City Rising Stars, Velocity Track Club, Finish Line, Fusion, Track Blazers, and MDC competing for glory. Action kicks off at 12 noon. Admission just $10. Don't miss this electrifying day as we celebrate a true stalwart of the sport. Be there to cheer on our champions.
Viewers and listeners, welcome back. 15 minutes on to 10 o'clock. That is the time. Don't forget, Christmas with GBN is up next from 10 o'clock. And we're talking with members of the fire department of the RGPF this morning, Inspector Hamilton, WPC Stafford, and Constable Harper, and we're talking fire for Christmas. We've got a caller. This is a segment where we accommodate your calls. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Yes, good day, morning. How are you?
I'm alive and thankful. Welcome to the program.
I want to make a statement, but I wonder if I could make this statement according to the program that is going on.
Well, it has to be with fire.
Only fire?
Yeah, what is it about, though?
Okay, then. What I'm saying is, too, that I live in an area and there is police actually stay around the place. He does not say morning to people, which I feel that a police is supposed to be genuine with everybody in our community. In case something happen, he need information.
Okay.
You understand? He need information. The next thing is, you have police that using the police transport. They're passing away. There's a crowd, there's a party, there's some function going on. They will pass straight. I feel the police will be more genuine. You pass there, see that? You stop, you say, hey guys, good day, good afternoon, good night, how it is,
Okay.
Then after someone say me, okay, then everything in the right because this guy they using threats to somebody. That is why police not supposed to be passing function where function is going on. We should even stop in and say hello.
Okay. All right. Thank you, caller. Thank you. Not necessarily in line with what we're talking, but nonetheless valid points. If from a policing standpoint, I know a lot has been done in community policing in recent times, engaging with the public. So it is important to be as social as possible, isn't it?
That's correct. We encourage officers to be courteous, to engage the community. If you're passing through an area and you observe an activity, it is your responsibility to pay particular attention on what is going on. If it take a 5-minute stop and pay attention to what's going on, do an assessment, and you gather intelligence from that activity.
Okay. We have another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Innocent.
Good morning. Welcome to the program.
A very pleasant, good Christmas morning to you and the officers in the midst.
Thank
I wish them all the best for the Christmas, and I wish them everything for Christmas. Now, I hope you make contact with those technicians. I can't see all the face go on the TV. I had to use my other radio. Listen, when you put your television on 11, it's showing you all different kind of colors. Only on 11, eh?
Okay.
And like I tell you this morning, those people that using the cable channel, they may no experience what we getting with we rabbit is. So please tell them, if just making noise and sometimes he's just marking XYZ on it. When I say XYZ, no, nothing you seen on it.
Okay.
Even on the radio sometime. So tell them guys, monitor GBN 11 for us, please, and bring it natural.
All right, thank you. We'll do. We'll have the technical team work on it. All right. Technical team, you heard the complaints, and that's coming from Laborie area. All right. So while we await, while we await our next caller, but here it comes right away. Good morning, caller. Welcome.
Good morning, and good morning to the officers that we have there.
Welcome to the program.
Yeah, you touch on people cooking and leaving their pot on the fire and going to something else. And it's so true because it happened to me already. And that can slip your mind so easy. But what happened is that, after you click back, you remember turn off the stove. Yeah, your pot burn, or you're cooking done, but at least you may come back in your mind. We always say, don't drink and drive. But some of our guys who drink alcohol, when they get drunk, the alcohol would make them hungry, and they would go home and cook.
Dangerous.
And when they go and cook now, that pot is going to stand on fire and they fall asleep, and the house is going to burn. I think most of the houses with guys, with the burn the houses because of that pot, where they're going to cook when they're drunk. And it's a serious thing. So I think we should talk about that a little bit more, because a lot of guys do that. Go home and cook when they're drunk.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much. Officers, your contribution to this.
A very good point made by the caller. We advise persons, if you come out from an activity and you consume excess alcohol, avoid cooking. Same way if you're taking mind-altering medication and so forth. Medication that makes you drowsy, as they normally say, don't operate this, don't operate that. Avoid cooking, because what you're going to do, you're going to cremate the pot, and then you can be cremated together with your family.
Okay.
You understand? So it's important that you avoid that. If you're traveling, buy something by the road, eat before you get to your home and say, well, I'm going to do this. Or probably you might take out the food in the microwave with the foil paper on it, because you're intoxicated, and you put it in the microwave, and then it starts an electrical acting inside there, and it could result in a fire.
Okay.
So if you're drinking meds, if you're drinking alcohol or taking mind-altering medication, avoid cooking and so forth.
Okay. We have a caller via our WhatsApp platform. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Hey, good morning, Innocent. Good morning, officer. Yeah, I just want to give a quick tip for people in Grenada not Trinidad. Okay, number one, I heard you guys were speaking about the fire with the extension.
Yeah, that was,
then, okay, what I want to say that whenever people want to get extension and things, number one, you must follow the code of Grenada. For example, if Grenada using number 10 wire, your extension should have been something like a number 10 wire. All right, and I know some of the buildings in Grenada also wire for to use appliances from the United States as 120. So when you get an extension and you do something like, you're supposed to get like a number 12 extension. All right, and something they have to check again with the fire alarm or the smoke detector. Smoke detector, you always have to change the battery. Usually we do it like in the US when it's coming to the winter. You understand? So again, whenever you have to get an extension, because you know a lot of people plug a lot of stuff into the extension, especially for the Christmas, try to use the that your house is with. I think that's our number 10 in Grenada. So then by extension, also the extension should have like a surge protector with a reset button on it, so just in case of anything on fire, it will trip off first. And if you have to do it on the outside, make sure you plug it into what we call a GFI that is close to water, what we use just in case. So, so in case you're going to have the fire itself, you're going to trip off right at the GFI so that it won't be extended.
Okay.
All right, thank you guys so much.
Thank you, caller. Yeah.
Thank you, caller, for your intervention. Your points are really strengthening what we were saying. Just to piggyback relative to lights, Christmas, especially decorative lights, use indoor lights for indoor purposes and use outdoor lights for outdoor purposes. Do not use indoor light outside because they are not designed for the water and so forth.
Okay.
In terms of the electrical cords and so forth, one of the ways you could detect whether the cord is really up to that standard is you could feel the cord. If the cord is getting warm, that means the load is too much for it. Right? And again, as we said earlier, the importance of avoid overloading your electrical circuits.
Okay.
And again, as we normally say, size transformers based on the equipment. So if you know your equipment is using 200 volts, you can use 200 watts, you can use a 10 watts, 15 or 20 watts transformer. So you make sure that your transformer is equivalent to
the load that it has to carry.
Exactly.
Someone says here, and that is very important. Once I was cooking, but I was feeling sick. I smelled something burning, and I was telling myself somebody pot is burning, but it was my pot that was burning. Good morning, caller. Welcome.
Good morning.
Hi,
good morning to you, and good morning to your guests.
Welcome.
Right. I heard a commercial a while ago that you had played in your break that there was going to be an activity in library and they're going to have artists coming in. But I never heard Shane, I never heard Smokey, I never heard Dash. Right? I ain't saying this is fair. But anyway, just let me continue what the topic are.
That's the idea.
Right. One thing you have to tell people is that they try to prepare too many dishes, so they get tired. They get tired. That's all.
Okay. All right. They prepare too many dishes, so they get tired. Cook the amount of food that you can look after, right?
You know that around Christmas time, especially Christmas Day, we try to cook up a storm.
That's when I was young. Now
whole week you're cleaning house, putting painting, and doing all those things. Yeah. And Christmas Day you cook that large amount of food, and sometimes in the cooking process people tired.
Right.
Sometimes you set up the night to boil the ham. And back in the days we used to boil ham on the outside and some water probably would
on the firewood. Yeah.
Now we boiling ham inside. Yeah. You understand? So probably you might drop asleep. And again, if you're gonna be up those late hours, you want to make sure that you have not you only the person in the house up, but you have company with you.
Yeah.
And again, you have to supervise your children, especially when you reorganize in the house. You might move stuff from one point to the other, and be so careful in the way how you place your items, and your child or probably your pet can come in and play around and probably piss on the stuff, and you could have an electrical fire occurring if you don't take the proper steps in securing your electrical wires and stuff like that.
All right, we've still got 4 minutes on the program. It's about time to start wrapping up. So if you want to call in or you want to make a contribution, please do so now. And what I'll do in the interest of time, I'm going to start with Miss Constable Harper. Some of your parting remarks, some of your hints, your ideas that you'd like to share with the audience.
Yes. One thing I would like to share is that I know that we didn't touch on false calls.
On?
False calls.
False calls.
Yes.
To the fire department or emergency department.
Yes. So I would like to quote that section of law as it relates to false calls.
Okay, go right ahead.
Right. So a person shall not make any calls to any law enforcement or emergency services with the purpose of giving false information. And a person who contravenes subsection 1 commits an offense and is liable to a summary conviction of a fine not exceeding $5,000 or a term of imprisonment not exceeding 6 months, or both.
Okay, so they could be fined or they could be fined and confined.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
WPC Stafford?
Parting remarks?
Okay, I'll just like to add some final reminders to the public out there. You always have a working fire extinguisher readily available at home. You keep an eye on pets to prevent them from knocking over decoration or candles. You stay vigilant during the festive celebration and ensure exits and pathways are clear of obstruction in the event that there is a fire, so you'll be able to evacuate quickly. And you celebrate responsibly while prioritizing safety to protect loved ones and property.
Thank you. And the man of the moment, Inspector Hamilton.
In closing, on behalf of the officer in charge fire department and the firefighters throughout the state of Grenada, we wish everyone a safe, joyous, and fire-free Christmas. The information was shared here this morning is basically to awake your consciousness in terms of preventing fires. If you need further information on preventing fires, feel free to contact the fire station closest to you. The fire stations are strategically located throughout Grenada and the Carriacou. We are willing to give you information. Just give us a call. And if a fire do occur, remember, call 911. There is some baseline information that we need from you. When we receive that call, we need to know the nature of the emergency. What is the nature of the emergency? Whether it's a building, a house, a vehicle, or a boat, or whatever it is, whatever type of fire. And the location, yes. This person's trapped. Your contact number. The shortest possible route to get to the location. These will help us. This information help us in our preparedness to respond. And we pride ourselves in responding to emergencies just under about a minute and two from the onset of the call. Okay. Yes. So feel free to contact the fire station if you need any further guidance on fire safety for the holiday seasons. So thank you very much.
All right, folks, that's it for To The Point for today. I have been speaking with members of the fire department of the RGPF, Inspector Hamilton, WPC Stafford, and Constable Harper. I do hope that the information that was disseminated here this morning will, rearrange your thought patterns and processes as it relates to dealing with fire throughout the Yuletide season and always. That's it for To The Point this morning. I'm Gordon Joseph, thanking you for being here with us as always. Bye-bye. That's it.